Hey gang, Michelle-Macphearson here for the challenge, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to use Twitter, and more specifically how to use Twitter lists to help build influence and establish you as a market leader in your particular niche. So let's head on over to the computer and I'll show you exactly how it's done. I'm sure that you're already familiar with the Twitter dashboard. So this is what you see when you log into Twitter and you're at the home screen. What we're going to do today is focus on creating a Twitter list that's comprised of the top influencers in your niche. We're going to aim to get 20 or so high-profile folks on your Twitter list. So first, before you get started on the actual computer stuff, I just want you to think about who you know in your marketplace today. Who are the leaders in your marketplace? Who are those big influencers? And go ahead and jot those names down. And once you've got a few of the big fish in your marketplace written down, I want you to go here on your Twitter home screen, just at twitter.com when you're logged in, click on lists, and then click create a list. Now you're going to create your own Twitter list. So I'm going to do mine on the San Francisco Giants. And then you can give it a description as well. So we'll put top SF Giants news and influencers. And we can make it public so that other people can follow the list as well. Then click Save List and your list is created. So here it is for me, but I don't have anybody in my list. So what we need to do now is add those influencers that we've already jotted down that you just thought of and add them to our Twitter list. Now you might already know these folks' Twitter handle because of your familiarity with the marketplace. You've been reading their blog, you know who they are, and you know what their Twitter username is. And if you don't, then you can check their websites, check their blogs, or you can do a search for those folks so that you can find their Twitter account and then add them to a list. Now, the person I'm going to add to my list is named Hank Schulman, and he is a writer for the San Francisco Chronicle, and he writes about the San Francisco Giants. So I'm going to add him by clicking the little person and then add to list, and I'm going to add him to my San Francisco Giants list, and then I can close that window. So you want to go through and take those folks that you've jotted down already, those big fish, and add them to your Twitter list. Find their accounts and add them to your list. Now we need to find out who the other influencers are in the marketplace to round out our Twitter lists. So one of the best ways to find the influencers is to see who our current influencers are following. So if I consider that this gentleman, Hank Schulman's an expert in the San Francisco Giants because he writes for them, I'm going to go to his page now, and you'll do this in yours as well, and see who he's following. And that's how I get to that. You just find the person and then click on following. And now I've got a list of everybody that this guy is following. So you're going to find the top influencers in your marketplace. You're going to go to their Twitter page after you've already added them to a Twitter list, and then check out who they're following and add the most appropriate people to your Twitter list as well. So let's take a peek at who Hank here is following for my example, and here's Carlos Beltran. He is a player now, so I'm going to add him to my San Francisco Giants list, and there it goes. And who else can we get in here? We'll go down, down, down. A lot of these are other people who write about the Giants, and I would need to look into their individual profiles a little bit more to see if they are as much of an influencer as I want them to be a part of my Twitter list. In this case, though, since we're on video and you don't want to watch me go through that whole process, I'm just going to add a few people who I know are either Giants players or writers or official accounts, that kind of thing, for my Twitter list. So I'm going to add these guys. These are all players. Very good. And Amy G, she is a reporter, so I'll add her as well. And let's see who else we can get in here to kind of round out our list. And again, you want to aim for, say, 20 or so folks on your Twitter list, and you want those 20 to be the most influential people in your particular marketplace. So check several of your top influencers' followers. And as you've seen, I've just checked Hank Schulman's followers, but now I could go through, go to lists, and that didn't load right. Let's reload. List, there's my list of giants. So I could go to, say, the actual SF Giants list, or I could go to the Amy G Giants list and see she's only following 54 people. So the people that she's following are probably some pretty influential and important people in this marketplace. If you find that one of your influencers is following, say, 20,000 people, it's going to be tough to wade through that. So you want to focus on the influencers like this lady who are really only following the people that are important in that marketplace. So I can add Brandon Crawford. There's somebody else that I've found who is a player. Add him to my list. And again, you're going to go through your influencers, followers, those influencers who have a fairly curated following list, and add them to your own list. Now, once you've got your Twitter list, you can use it to actually do a number of things. So you can see how these top influencers that you have on your list now are communicating with their followers. How do they get their ideas across to folks? How do they get their content across to folks? What's the tone of their Twitter posts? Are they saying, hey, go read this blog post? Or are they being more conversational? And you can get a gauge on your marketplace in that way. You can also monitor trends in the conversation as a whole. Now, because I've got everything about the giants, and you'll have everything about your niche in one place, in one list like this, you'll be able to get a really good idea as to what the current conversation is in that marketplace. And I'm not just talking about news and announcements, but I'm talking about being able to sort of see them all in one place like we can here. And then you can really start to tune into that tone of the conversation and get an idea of perhaps predictions, where things are going, where everybody's looking for what's going to be happening next. And you can then be ahead of the game as well in that way. And the other thing that you can start doing with your Twitter list is to communicate directly with these influencers. So for me, in this San Francisco Giants example, now that I've got everybody in one place, I can see what, let's see, Extra Bags and what Hank Schulman and what Amy G Giants, who are all reporters for or on the San Francisco Giants beat, I can see what they're all saying together and then start to form my own opinions and start to communicate directly with these reporters and with these influencers. And in your marketplace, you may or may not have relevant reporters, but you're certainly going to have bloggers and that kind of thing, folks who have their own circle of influence, and you can start to communicate with those influencers when you've got an answer to a question that they've asked or a well thought out opinion on something that one of these influencer posts. You can respond and you can begin to attract their attention. Now, I've got to say this, although I'm pretty sure that you already know it, but you don't want to be needy. You don't want to ask them to retweet your stuff or otherwise promote you and your agenda, because this is really about helping to further their agenda. So at the end of today's video, you should have been able to create a Twitter list, just like I've done here, based around your particular marketplace. You want to aim to have about 20 folks at least on your Twitter list so that you've got a good cross-section of information in your marketplace. And now you can go back to your Twitter list each day to review the news, the trends, the conversation in your marketplace, start communicating with those influencers, and start keeping up to date as to what's going on in your marketplace. Thanks so much. This has been Michelle MacPhearson. I hope that you enjoyed today's video on market leadership. Come back tomorrow. There'll be another challenge video waiting for you.